There are souls who walk this earth only for a season, and yet their presence is stitched into the fabric of our being forever. Some people enter our lives not to stay, but to awaken something inside us, to teach us, to touch us, to make us remember the essence of what it means to be human. When they leave, they do not vanish. They take residence in the quiet chambers of our hearts, whispering lessons that echo through our days. We often think that education happens only in classrooms, but the deepest lessons come through love, loss, and remembrance. The human heart is the first and final school. It learns patience through pain, resilience through heartbreak, and gratitude through memory. Those who have gone become our invisible professors, guiding us toward a wisdom no textbook can teach. When someone who has shaped your spirit departs, their absence becomes a kind of curriculum. You learn to listen differently, to the silence, to the wind, to the faint hum of their laughter that lingers in your memory. You begin to realize that love is not bound by time or proximity. It stretches beyond what the eyes can see. It becomes a spiritual education, one that teaches you to value presence, to honor absence, and to carry forth their light even when the world feels dim. There are people whose kindness rewires the way you think about humanity. Their grace becomes your standard, their faith your model, their courage your reminder to rise. You find yourself saying the words they once said, walking paths they once cleared, believing in possibilities they once dreamed of. That is how love teaches. It transforms us through imitation and remembrance. We become living testaments of their existence. In learning to live without them, we discover an even greater truth. They were never truly gone. The body may return to the earth, but the spirit, the laughter, the lessons, they remain breathing through us like a sacred inheritance. Each time you show compassion, you repeat their story. Each time you forgive, you continue their teaching. Each time you love, you keep them alive in the only way that truly matters. The wise know this: the measure of a life is not in its length, but in its echo. Those who leave behind goodness never really depart. They become part of our moral DNA, woven into our thinking, our loving, our living. Their memory becomes a moral compass, steering us toward kindness when cruelty tempts, reminding us to speak truth when silence feels safer. Some people stay in your heart even when they're gone, because the heart recognizes a deeper truth, the truth that love, once given, never dies. It transforms, it evolves. It becomes the unseen force that carries us forward. Their names may fade from conversation, but their essence becomes part of our education in the art of being alive. They have taught us the highest lesson of all. That connection, once formed in sincerity, cannot be undone by time, nor silenced by distance, nor defeated by death. There are souls who walk this earth only for a season, yet their presence lingers in ways words can never fully capture. Some arrive quietly with soft smiles and gentle words, while others enter like a burst of sunlight, changing everything they touch. Whether they stay for a year, a decade, or just a fleeting moment, something about them imprints itself on the deepest parts of us. They live in our gestures, our choices, our laughter, and even our tears. They are the melody beneath our silence, the unseen hand that steadies us when we falter. And though they may no longer walk beside us, we find them still, woven through our days like threads of gold. When we speak of education, we often think of classrooms, teachers, and lessons written neatly on a chalkboard. But the most profound education comes from living, loving, and losing. Some people educate the soul not through lectures or books, but through their very existence. They teach us patience when we are restless, kindness when we are hurt, and forgiveness when the weight of bitterness feels too heavy. Their lessons are not announced, yet they are absorbed deeply, almost silently, shaping who we become long after they have gone. You begin to realize that every moment spent with them was part of a divine curriculum. Their laughter taught you the rhythm of joy. Their honesty taught you the value of truth. Their compassion revealed the beauty of being seen and understood. And when they left, the ache they left behind became another teacher, one that whispered about resilience, strength, and the endurance of love. Loss, after all, is a form of education that humbles us. It reminds us of the preciousness of every heartbeat, the sacredness of every touch. It makes us students of impermanence, urging us to cherish what remains even as we mourn what's gone. And as you walk through life, you start to feel their presence in unexpected ways. A familiar phrase slips from your lips and you realize it's something they used to say. You find yourself drawn to the same songs, the same acts of kindness, the same quiet courage they once embodied. Without even knowing it, you begin to carry their spirit forward. They live through you, not as a memory trapped in the past, but as a living influence that continues to shape your choices, your dreams, your very sense of being. Some people stay in your heart because their love was never conditional, never bound by time or distance. They touched you in a way that awakens something sacred, a recognition that real connection cannot be erased by absence. It transforms, it evolves, it becomes part of the fabric of who you are. Though the world may call them gone, you know better. You have felt their light, and that light once kindled does not die. It glows quietly within you, teaching you still, guiding you still, loving you still. The lessons that remain with us the longest are not always the ones we learn from books, but from people who have touched our lives deeply and then moved on. Long after their footsteps fade, their influence continues to echo, shaping our choices, our thoughts, and our ways of being. The wisdom they leave behind is not written in ink, but engraved on our hearts. It appears in the smallest details: how we comfort a friend, how we handle disappointment, how we find beauty even in sorrow. The teachings of those who have left us are often silent, yet they speak louder than words. When someone you love is gone, you begin to realize that the lessons they taught you were never meant to be temporary. They were meant to sustain you, to remind you of what matters, to carry you through seasons of uncertainty. Perhaps they taught you courage, not through speeches, but through how they faced their own hardships with dignity. Maybe they showed you what compassion looks like by how they treated others, or how to keep faith when everything seemed impossible. Even in their absence, those lessons keep working like a gentle pulse in the soul. There is something sacred about this kind of education. It is not confined to time or place. It happens through observation, through shared moments, through the quiet ways someone's character reveals itself. You start to notice that the people who leave the deepest impressions are the ones who live their truth unapologetically. Their integrity becomes a mirror reflecting back what we aspire to be. Their words, once casual conversations, become life mantras we carry forward. You may find yourself remembering the advice they once gave in passing, realizing only now how profound it was. The wisdom of their example begins to bloom within you long after they're gone, and yet this kind of learning is not easy. It comes with the ache of missing them, the weight of wishing you could ask one more question or share one more laugh. But in that ache, you find growth. You begin to understand that absence does not erase a lesson. It refines it. It carves it deeper into your heart. Every tear becomes a reminder that love has the power to educate the soul far beyond what the mind can comprehend. Grief becomes a continuation of learning, teaching patience, empathy, and acceptance. In time, you realize that their lessons have not only shaped you, but also flow through you to others. You repeat their kindness in your actions, you share their wisdom in your words, and you embody their strength in how you handle life. In doing so, their influence becomes eternal. The people who are gone continue to teach us how to live, not from beside us, but from within us. They remain our unseen mentors, reminding us that love's true classroom is the heart, and the lessons it holds never fade. There are those who leave this world or simply step away from our lives, yet their influence lingers like a gentle wind we cannot see but can always feel. Even in their absence, they continue to guide us, shaping who we are and who we become. This invisible influence is one of life's quiet miracles, a reminder that the spirit of a person can remain long after their physical presence fades. We feel them in our decisions, in the courage we summon, in the compassion we extend. Their voice echoes in our hearts, steadying us when we doubt, encouraging us when we hesitate, comforting us when we falter. This invisible influence is not always loud or dramatic. It is subtle, almost sacred. It appears in the way you pause before speaking, remembering how they once told you that words have power. It's in the way you face difficulties, recalling how they handled their struggles with grace and faith. Sometimes it's in your laughter, the same kind of laughter that once filled the air when you were together. Without realizing it, their way of being seeps into your own, becoming part of your moral and emotional fabric. They have left fingerprints on your soul, and those prints remain, guiding your steps like constellations on a dark night. There are moments when you catch yourself behaving as they would have, and it surprises you. You might choose forgiveness when anger feels easier, or patience when frustration burns hot. That's their influence, alive, unseen, and working through you. They may no longer speak, but their lessons speak through your actions. Their integrity becomes your compass, their kindness your habit, their strength your inheritance. They have become part of the voice inside you that whispers, "You can do this even when the world tells you that you cannot." It is a remarkable truth that human connection does not end when people part ways. When someone touches your life in a meaningful way, they plant a seed that continues to grow even in their absence. Time and distance may separate you from them, but their impact continues to bloom quietly, transforming how you think and how you love. The invisible influence of those we have lost reminds us that love is not confined to the physical realm, it transcends it. It becomes spiritual, boundless, and enduring. Sometimes this influence reveals itself most clearly in moments of solitude. When you're faced with a hard decision, it's their wisdom that surfaces in your mind. When life feels heavy, it's their memory that gives you strength. You realize that they were never entirely gone. They simply changed form from presence to principle, from touch to truth, from person to energy that moves through your spirit. And so you walk forward carrying them with you, not in your arms, but in your heart. Their invisible influence becomes your unseen anchor, a steady, loving force reminding you that though people may leave your side, their light never stops guiding your path. There is a truth that the heart eventually learns, that love is not confined by the limits of time, distance, or even death. It belongs to something greater, something eternal. When someone leaves us, we are often left with the ache of their absence, a quiet emptiness that fills the space where their laughter once lived. Yet over time, we come to realize that while the body departs, the spirit remains. The love shared, the moments of understanding, the gentle lessons whispered in kindness, these do not die. They rise into something unseen but ever present, a spiritual continuum that stretches beyond the boundaries of this world. Love is the purest form of energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It only transforms. The love you have known from those who are gone transforms into a guiding presence, an unseen companion walking beside you. You may not hear their voice anymore, but you feel them in the stillness. You sense their peace when the night grows too quiet, their warmth when you face a storm alone. The human soul has a way of recognizing this connection. It knows that those who truly loved us never disappear. They become part of the rhythm of our lives, an eternal harmony that continues even when we cannot see its source. This understanding turns grief into something sacred. It is not just mourning for what was lost, but reverence for what remains. The spiritual bond between souls outlives all endings. It flows through time, memory, and emotion, linking us to those who came before and those who will come after. When we remember someone with love, we are not just recalling the past, we are reaching across worlds, keeping the connection alive. That is why memory can make us weep one moment and smile the next. It is the heart recognizing that the spirit of love still breathes somewhere nearby. There is education in this awareness, a deep soul-level understanding that life is more than what we see. The presence of those who are gone teaches us that love is the one language that transcends dimensions. It teaches patience with life's impermanence and comfort in knowing that nothing meaningful is ever truly lost. When you stand under a sky full of stars and feel peace without knowing why, it may be that their love is there, woven into the light that reaches you from afar. To live with this awareness is to live with reverence. It reminds you to love more fully, to forgive more easily, to speak with gentleness, for everything we give becomes part of someone's eternal memory. The love you offer today may be the same love that steadies someone years from now. In this way, love is both teacher and student, beginning and continuation. The spiritual continuum reminds us that while people may pass beyond sight, they remain in the sacred space of the heart, forever near, forever teaching, forever guiding us home. Loss is one of life's greatest teachers. It arrives uninvited, rearranging the landscape of our hearts and testing the strength of our spirit. When someone we love departs, whether through distance, change, or death, we are left with an emptiness that feels unbearable. Yet in that emptiness lies the seed of transformation. Grief, when faced with honesty and tenderness, becomes a silent mentor. It teaches us what endurance means, how deep love truly runs, and how the human heart, though broken, learns to beat with greater compassion. At first, loss feels like a thief, taking away joy, laughter, and a sense of normalcy. The days stretch long and hollow, and even the simplest memories carry the sting of what's gone. But as time unfolds, grief begins to reveal its hidden lessons. It teaches us to appreciate the fragility of moments, to understand that every conversation, every touch, every shared glance is sacred. The very pain we feel is proof that we have loved deeply, and that love was real. Through this realization, we begin to see that loss is not just an ending. It is also an initiation into a deeper understanding of life itself. Grief transforms the way we perceive the world. It softens sharp judgments, humbles pride, and deepens empathy. You start to notice the quiet sorrows in others, the tremor in someone's voice, the distant look in their eyes. And you recognize pieces of your own story in theirs. Pain connects us to the human experience in ways comfort never can. Through loss, we learn to listen differently, to care more sincerely, to show patience in the face of another's suffering. The heart that has been broken becomes a vessel for understanding, capable of holding both sorrow and beauty at once. Transformation through loss is not immediate. It happens slowly, like dawn creeping over a dark horizon. Some days you feel strong, other days you crumble. But even in your breaking, something sacred is taking place. The old version of you, innocent of grief, is giving way to someone wiser, someone gentler, someone who knows that joy is a fleeting gift to be cherished while it lasts. Loss doesn't take away the person you were, it expands you. It stretches your soul, teaching you to live with both love and longing in the same breath. In time, you come to see that the person you lost is still teaching you. Their absence forces you to look inward, to find strength in the silence they left behind. You begin to carry their lessons forward. Their courage becomes your own, their kindness your daily practice, their faith your quiet anchor. What once felt like an unbearable emptiness transforms into a space filled with meaning and remembrance. Through loss, we learn that endings are not final. They are passages, doorways that lead us toward a more compassionate understanding of what it means to love, to live, and to continue. There are people whose lives are like torches. They burn brightly, even if only for a moment, and in that time they illuminate everything around them. When they are gone, their light doesn't vanish. It lingers, carried forward by those who were touched by it. These are the living legacies, the souls who leave behind more than memories. They leave behind ways of being, principles of love, and examples of courage that ripple through generations. To honor them is not simply to remember them, but to live as they lived, to let their goodness continue through our choices, our words, and our actions. A living legacy is not built on fame or fortune. It is built on the quiet acts of kindness that outlast the moment, on the integrity that never bends to convenience, on the compassion that sees others with gentleness and grace. When someone lives with this kind of truth, they become part of the moral foundation of those who knew them. They become a voice within us that says, "Oh, do right." Even when no one is watching, you find yourself repeating their phrases, imitating their patience, trying to walk with the same dignity they carried so effortlessly. They may no longer be here, but they live through your example. You become their continuation, their evidence, their proof that goodness never dies. Living legacies are formed when love becomes action and faith becomes service. It is not what they own, but what they gave that endures. The teacher who planted courage in her students, the friend who believed in you when you had stopped believing in yourself, the parent whose sacrifices built your future. All of them live on through what they left within you. Their lives become part of your moral compass. When you choose kindness over cruelty, patience over anger, hope over despair, you are continuing their story. Their presence becomes invisible but undeniable, woven into every act of love you perform. To carry someone's legacy is both a gift and a responsibility. It asks that we remember not just who they were, but what they stood for. It challenges us to rise when we would rather rest, to love when we would rather close our hearts. You may not realize it at first, but their courage strengthens your own. Their words of wisdom echo in your mind at the moments you need them most. They remind you that life's true measure is not in what we collect, but in what we leave behind. In this way, no life of love or goodness is ever wasted. Every act of compassion, every lesson taught, every seed of faith planted continues to grow in others. You are the living proof of someone's love, the embodiment of someone's hope. Their story is alive in you, and through you, it will reach others who will never know their name, but will feel their light. This is what it means to live on. Not to be remembered, but to keep love moving forward. Every connection we make leaves an imprint on the soul. Some are faint, passing through like shadows at sunset, while others carve their mark deep within us, shaping the way we love, speak, and see the world. The sacredness of connection lies in this truth, that every encounter, no matter how brief, has the power to change us. We often underestimate the quiet beauty of human bonds, yet they are the threads that hold the fabric of our existence together. To connect with another person is to share a part of your spirit, to allow understanding, kindness, and vulnerability to pass between two hearts. When you think about the people who have touched your life, you realize that their presence has become part of your inner world. Some taught you joy, others taught you resilience, and some taught you the importance of letting go. Every relationship, even those that ended in pain, carried a lesson that shaped your becoming. The sacredness of connection is not found in perfection, but in authenticity. When we meet someone who truly sees us, without pretense, without expectations, something divine occurs. For a moment, two souls recognize one another in the vastness of existence, and that recognition never completely fades. These connections are the unseen architecture of our emotional and spiritual growth. They teach us empathy, the ability to feel beyond ourselves, to understand that every heart carries its own battles and dreams. They teach humility, reminding us that we are not meant to walk alone, that every person we meet is both a teacher and a mirror. Sometimes we encounter someone who awakens something long dormant within us, a sense of purpose, courage, or hope we had forgotten. They may not stay forever, but the spark they ignite continues to burn, illuminating our path long after they have gone. There is something holy about the way love and understanding move between people. It transcends all barriers, time, language, culture, and circumstance. It is the quiet current beneath the noise of daily life, reminding us of our shared humanity. When you speak a kind word, listen without judgment, or hold someone in silence through their pain, you are participating in something sacred. You are affirming the connection that ties every human being to another. That in itself is an act of grace. Even those who have left us remain part of this sacred web. Their laughter still echoes in our memories. Their wisdom guides our decisions. Their love shapes how we care for others. We carry them within us, and through us, their presence continues to bless the world. The sacredness of connection is that it never truly ends, it transforms. What began as companionship becomes guidance. What was once conversation becomes inner dialogue. And what was love remains love, infinite and enduring. Every person we meet leaves a spiritual fingerprint upon our hearts, and in honoring those marks, we honor the beauty of being alive together. And so, when we look back on the people who have touched our lives, we begin to understand that their presence was never accidental. Each one came with a purpose: to teach, to comfort, to awaken, or to remind us of who we are capable of becoming. Though time may carry them away from our sight, the heart refuses to forget. Their laughter, their lessons, their love, they live within us, guiding every step we take. Some people stay in your heart even when they're gone, because love once given becomes eternal. It does not fade. It transforms into light, quiet, steady, and everlasting, illuminating our path for as long as we live.